Hello everyone, I'm Sangjoon Cho, Director of the Application Technology Center at Park Systems. Thanks and congratulations on organizers for this interesting symposium, even in this COVID-19 situation. I am honored to introduce the recent optical hybrid SPM technology development at Park Systems as an opening talk. During the talk, I will introduce several prototypes and alpha and beta hybrid equipment which are still under development. Why hybrid metrology is so important? In the preface of the book, nanotechnologist Jean-Marie Lang, who received the Nobel Prize for Chemistry in 1987, told, "Beyond dimension shrinkage, the new era of complexity is initiated." And it becomes true in every aspect of science and engineering. Therefore, different metrology techniques are required for developing nanotechnology, which are the unison of physics, chemistry, biology, and industrial sciences, which mirror to the atom or molecular scale by Johann Fuscher. These problems in nanotechnology can be solved by using multiple tools in unison to add their respective strength to overcome individual limitations. So, Mark Alexander also said, hybrid metrology has gained significant recognition in recent times as an approach to considerably reduce parametric uncertainties by combining different measurements of the same measurand. This kind of scientific challenge used to be academically met first, then adopted by industry later. But recent rapid development of industries has forced us to develop metrological solutions. Good example is semiconductor industry. The semiconductor industry is increasingly in dire need of hybrid metrology to meet that need in development and manufacturing. However, in order to maximize the gain from hybrid metrology, there are several hallmarks. This is one example. For every added measurement technique, it is crucial to perform a careful error analysis in order to use its full capabilities. So PARC solution has been successfully implemented in semiconductor industry. PARC has won more than 160 cases of automated AFM since 2015. As a matter of course, we were selected one of most promising 20 semiconductor technology solution provider in 2018. In addition, we were selected again for one of top 10 advanced material solution provider last year. As credibility increases, the industry requires PARC to develop advanced SPM hybrid instrument solution too. In 2018, the Financial Times ranked us 891 in the 1,000 high-growth companies Asia Pacific region, and it went up to 333 in April this year. In November this year, Forbes Asia also selected us in the Asia's 200 best under billion. There was another good news for me last month. The result of the national project I carried out was selected as the best of the national R&D excellence and the top 100 listing in 2020. In addition, all of the national projects I've carried out in the last 5 years have received excellent mark. So today's talk is also the result of one of the nationally funded project. So I won the National Grant of Nanoconvergence 2020 titled Development of the High Spatial Resolution SPM System and an Optical Module in 2018. Under this grant, we were currently developing AFM WLI hybrid equipment. So in the WLI, the height of the sample surface at each pixel can be calculated from the light intensity variation due to interference while scanning the height of a mirror objective lens. Since WLI could generate 3D images with height information, it is also called optical profiler. AFM technology has a measurement area of up to 100 micrometer and is suitable for high resolution and high accuracy image measurement, but not suitable for full dye range measurement, which is frequently requested from the industry. In other hand, the WLI technology is suitable for measuring a full die with area from hundreds micrometer to a few millimeter, but would produce low resolution and low accuracy data compared to the AFM. Therefore, we think that these two technologies would complement each other very well. So WLI module integrated with the NX wafer 300 millimeter system, which is the Park's bestseller in semiconductor industry. NX wafer has a very solid platform with less than 0.05 nanometer noise floor, and WLI module also equipped with the same closed loop G scanner with a low noise detector used in AFM to guarantee the best performance of WLI. In addition to conventional WLI mode, phase shift interferometry mode for high resolution imaging was also equipped. These are repeatability comparison between WLI and then phase shift interferometry mode. PSI mode showed enhanced repeatability with a different processing algorithm, especially in the low-high sample with the nanometer range. Usually, PSI mode needs less frame to capture than WLI mode and save time in averaging captured data at each point. These enhanced results were mainly originated from closed-loop scanner, but stability of NX wafer 300 millimeter system also affected. WLI has a strength in measuring a higher sample height from few hundred nanometer to micro range, and these are WLI images for standard sample and hard disk drive. This is the example of WLI and AFM imaging process in sequence. From optical view, WLI is able to provide large 3D image of a sample, which is 800 micrometer by 1250 micrometer. Then AFM zooms in to locate very small target objects, such as a positive recession, which read and write in hard disk drive. This is the example of a WLI and AFM imaging process in sequence. From optical view, WLI is able to provide large 3D view of the sample, which is 800 micrometer. And AFM zoom in to locate very small target object. In conclusion, methodology capability was proved by these results, and remaining work is application function, testing like auto stitching, defect reviewing, and it will be tested in 2020 third quarter. This is another very attractive application of AFM and WLI hybrid system in various industry. This hybrid setup can be used in defect hotspot detection and review. Hotspots of a pattern structure can be detected by comparing images of a reference and target sample areas. High-speed hotspot detection by WLI enables fast localization for defect site for high-resolution AFM review. Developing software for automated review of hotspot detect by WLI and AFM is one of our big homework. WLI can also be used to monitoring CMP process in large area. As I emphasized before, WLI on the solid platform with ultra low noise floor give us a few nanometer resolution in G-axis of WLI images. This is before CMP and this is after CMP. And you can see this difference in G scales. With the stitching process, WLI enables us to image full die 3D mapping. This WLI image produced by stitching 25 images to show 20 by 21 millimeter full die map. However, minimizing errors in stitching is not so easy. Therefore, we have been working on to develop automated stitching process and calibrating WLI data with the AFM data. This is the essential process required for full die of reticle mapping. A die in the context of integrated circuits is a small block of semiconducting material on which given functional circuit is fabricated. A reticle, on the other hand, they refer to a single layer of a pattern that covers a small portion of the wafer. reticle usually contains a series of the die. These are basic process of stitching. In preparation, define non-linearity and field curvature errors in addition to vision calibration. After correcting non-linearity and field curvature errors, we need to align X, Y, and Z as a whole image, then using advanced flattening process to minimize the errors. We create a pseudo-surface and segmented them and stitch again to evaluate the algorithm. For simulation, we created several types of pseudo-surface with a variable of without noise and with noise. The presence of scribe lines, G offset, and tilting. It is easier to understand to see following figures. These images are without and with noise segmented 9×11, which means this image is constructed by 99 images stitched. Pseudo-surface number 3 include the scribe lines, and number 4 include random Z offset without tilting. And number 5 image has random G offset with tilting. These are results of a stitching algorithm. At this time, all images include the scribe lines. Including just noise, there is no error was produced in stitching. When there is a random Z offset of 100th of a nanometer, hundredths of a nanometer, which produce negligible errors of less than 1 femtometer. If you include the random tilting errors without angle alignment, then error becomes as large as a tenth of a nanometer, which is not acceptable. However, with angle alignment, the error will reduce again to less than 0.1 nanometer. So now, stitching methods is quite working better. So this is actual stitching test with the real VLSI step height standards of 180 nanometer. This is the data imaged in April, 6 months ago, before optimizing the stitching algorithm. So now you can see how much better compared to the April one. Under the same research grant, our participating partner in Incheon University has been constructing prototype of optical hybrid research AFM. This system is capable of most of SPM techniques and visual spectroscopy, Raman, the photoluminescence, etc. And these are preliminary data of Raman and photoluminescence image of molybdenum disulfide. The image shows a normal Raman resolution of around 300 nanometer, which is, by the way, an excellent number. It also has capability of visual spectroscopy. This data measuring IR induced N. You can see these different structures, and then by the wavelengths, you can differentiate this structure. And this data measuring IL induced the thermal signal on IL plasmonic nanostructure. And since it is built on NX12, the AFM head is exchangeable with the SThM head for live single-cell imaging. These images are impossible to obtain from AFM technology. In addition to SThM, we are currently developing Pipette-based scanning electrochemical microscopy. SThM can help us to get the topographical information of sample surface using ion current signal between pipette end and the sample surface. But we cannot get the electrochemical information. But adding ultra micro electrode as a scanning probe and potential state to the SThM, then it transformed to pipette-based SThM. In conventional SThM, it is a bit difficult to control the pipette sample distance, thus reducing the reliability of the data. In order to complement shortcomings and combining strengths of these techniques, SICM, SECM has been introduced. There are two channels. One is to detect the ion current for topography, and the other is to detect a Faraday current for EC response. The strong point of this technique is a simultaneous measurement, both topography and the electrochemical property. But it is also a bit difficult to characterize the probe and its setup and operation. There is a different technique called the Scanning Electrochemical Cell Microscopy, SThM. It is also a pipette-based SPM technology designed to allow simultaneous conductance and electrochemical visualization of surfaces and interfaces. Compared to the other pipette-based techniques, it is quite simple, easy and fast setup and operation. It enables the localized EC signal analysis with a nanometer scale. In addition, these two techniques are also operable in liquid condition, but SThM is working in the ambient condition. And I have one additional grant in research equipment development and advanced project titled Photo-Induced AFM Development for Molecular Composition Analysis. The development of the industrial automated version is due until the end of next year. So photo-induced force microscopy can obtain chemical specific nanoscale images and IR spectra. The incident with the IR laser is electrically triggering to pulse, and the frequency is a modulation, where F0 and F1 are the first and second resonance frequency of the cantilever. The topography of the sample is measured at F1, and the photo-induced dipole-dipole interaction force is measured at the F0. We have established an alpha system that can measure 300 millimeter wafer sample. With the global attention on the role that plastics play in our ecosystem, many researchers are investigating new bioplastic or biodegradable polymer alternatives to reduce the ecological impact of plastic packaging. One such promising thermoplastic is polylactic acid, PLA. This bioplastic decomposes into lactic acid and can be derived from renewable resources like cornstarch or sugarcane during starch fermentation. PLA is widely applicable, cost efficient to produce, and degrade naturally in the environment under certain conditions. For this reason, PLA is found in many consumer products such as medical implants, 3D printing, and disposable and combustible cups and plates. Research groups are currently testing its degradability under realistic and natural conditions, including marine waters, soil, and compost. In order to degrade, heat and moisture are required for hydrolyzing to occur. There are some disadvantages in the material properties of PLA, primarily in the form of gas permeability and mechanical properties. PLA is typically soft and has a high transmission rate of gases, making it difficult to use for food storage. Additionally, the ease with which PLA melts makes it unsuitable to hold hot liquid. Engineering ways to strengthen the material will aid in its adoption. The one of the possible nanocomposition of a PLA with an alkyl acrylate copolymer called ACM or acrylic rubber. The sample has been studied using PIFM to determine how the materials are dispersed using excellent correlation between PIFM and FTIR spectra. So we are able to confidently show where the two materials are located within the material matrix with a nanometer spatial resolution. So now you can see the PIFM with the PLA and then ACM separately. So this is a PIFM image of silicon germanium and then silicon oxide FinFET structure. You can clearly distinguish two different materials. Silicon germanium and silicon oxide using PIFM here, and same structure was imaged using TERS and published in 2015. By comparing PIFM images with the TERS images, it makes it easy to see which is better. And hybrid metrology related activity can also be seen in the standardization activity. There are ISO standard for data transfer format for SPM, and development of a standard for AFM data format for hybrid metrology in TC201 and SC3 Data Management and Treatment Committee. So in conclusion, the AFM and WLI hybrid equipment, before that, in conclusion, technological development for hybrid metrology is active and important. And today I introduced the automated AFM and WLI hybrid industrial equipment. And then I also introduced the WLI stitching development. And then also I introduced some prototype of optical hybrid research AFM, which can do the Raman and photoluminescence mapping. And also it can equip with the scanning conductance microscope or scanning electrochemical microscopy. And I briefly introduced the photo-induced force microscopy. And I also introduced shortly some of the standardization activity related with the AFM data format for hybrid metrology. I believe that this prototype of optical hybrid research AFM is one of a kind and ultimate research tool for 2D material research and much more. And thanks for your attention. And thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Cho. Yeah, we have received several questions, and the first questions are basically the same. They are asking about the lateral resolution of Raman collected simultaneously with AFM map.
So Raman resolution currently it's equipped with just a normal Raman. It's maybe called a little bit bigger than nano Raman. So it's right now it's about 300 nanometer resolution. And we are also testing TERS together, TERS too. So in TERS, we are kind of testing lateral resolution as like about less than 50 nanometer and 30 nanometer. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much for the answer. So one more question is, what probes are you used in PIFM? Should they be matched to the materials under study?
Right now, probes, it's a metal coated probes. And then I think that sometimes it's not, you don't need too much about you don't need to match these the probes to the materials exactly, because this IR laser affecting this tip end and the material dipole interaction. So actually, you don't need too much concern about the matching specific probes to the materials.
Okay, thank you very much.